This is breaking news on 6 News. I'm Leo Puglisi. It appears the Assad government has fallen in Syria, according to a bunch of local and international reports we are getting at this hour. What we know is that Syrian rebels are claiming that the government has fallen, the Assad regime, that is. And we have also just seen in the last few minutes from Reuters that the Syrian Army Command has notified officers the government has fallen. Rebels have entered the capital city of Damascus. All flights have been stopped at Damascus International Airport and employees evacuated, according to Al Jazeera, citing Syrian media. With us, 6 News law and government editor Stuart Jeffrey for more on this breaking story. Stuart, this is extraordinary.
Exactly. The civil war's been going on so long now. It seems like a permanent fixture in Iraq, but this looks like it could be the end of it. Of course, just last week, Turkey and Iran were talking about trying to find a peaceful solution to the situation in Iraq, which had been on hold for a couple of years. It was still ongoing, kind of like a career situation, but now it's definitely picked back up again. And it looks like those attempts at peaceful settlements by Turkey and Iran have probably collapsed if this is going to full out war.
And for Syria here, Bashar al-Assad, the Assad dynasty has been in place for decades, right? He came in about 25 odd years ago himself. This is just in terms of historically for Syria. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this.
But we even have reports of the opposition fighters tearing down statues of Assad's own father, demonstrating there really is this attempt to kind of cleanse Syria of the Assad regime.
It feels a bit all like Saddam and the tearing down of his statues. I think some have made that comparison.
Yeah, or even Gaddafi for a bit more of a more recent thing in the Islamic world in North Africa that again had strong involvement from the US, and it looks like the US could be getting involved in Syria. Depends on which opposition teams also come into play. Of course, the main one is not backed by the US. I believe it's declared as a terrorist organization. But certainly the Kurds in East Syria could be playing as a factor here. And the US definitely going to consider getting involved, considering how important Syria's stability is to securing the northern flank for Israel. So definitely looking at how can the US get involved here because they're going to want to secure that. Having Iran take control in Syria is going to be really bad considering Iran's hostility towards Israel right now. So the US government definitely worried about that. Of course, Assad regime has been backed by Iran, but that might change now based on Iran's stance with Turkey.
And just on the US, the incoming president, Donald Trump, actually put out a few hours ago, he put out a tweet on this, and it reads, it's a long one, but it reads as following, quote, opposition fighters in Syria in an unprecedented move have totally taken over numerous cities in a highly coordinated offensive and are now on the outskirts of Damascus, obviously preparing to make a very big move towards taking out Assad. Again, this was a few hours ago. He went on to say, but now they are like possibly Assad himself being forced out, and it may actually be the best thing that can happen to them. He's talking about some soldiers there. The main point, though, he added, though, was, quote, in any event, Syria is a mess, but is not our friend. And the United States, in all caps, the United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. And of course, it'd be one thing for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump to be saying this, but he is the president in just over a month. He will be inaugurated, we have to remember. And this, again, assuming they have taken in control, this new rebel control is what he would have to deal with. He's saying, again, the US should not be involved, but he would have to deal with there. In terms of presidents, in terms of the Syrian civil war, this has just been going on for so long. There was the Obama years. We've had it with Trump. We've had it with Biden. And right now, in what is a pretty random Sunday for us, it just seems to have totally collapsed for Assad.
Exactly, and let's not forget the two invasions of Iraq as well, the Israeli government's invasion of Lebanon, so many conflicts in this region, and of course that stability. Everyone, watch your fuel prices. So we're going to have another 1970s where they kind of blockade the West to stop us from getting our petrol. But definitely stability in that region again is important for the Israeli conflict. And although Trump might not want to get involved in Syria, he's going to have a lot of war hawks pushing on him if this threatens the situation in Israel again, because that conflict is definitely backed a lot more by the US government than the situation in Syria is. So yes, Trump might not want to support Syria or get involved in Syria or any of the factions there, but unfortunately, although Trump would be the president by then, he's not the only figure of authority, and definitely going to be a lot of war hawks pushing Trump to get involved here.
No, he's not. And a few points being made on the current situation. This via CNN, quote, Syria's rebel forces claim to have entered Damascus, and a source familiar with the advance tells CNN operatives are taking up key positions. Militarily, Damascus has fallen, the source says. Again, Assad has been nowhere to be seen for some time. He appears to have, he appears to have fled. Exact whereabouts not known. There's rumors about a plane. There are rumors that should be prefaced, obviously, but he's gone. The Prime Minister of Syria does still appear to be there and is saying he would cooperate with the new leadership for what it's worth. We've seen reports come in just now. And look, rebels are saying they fully liberated Homs, which is the third largest city. It's a key area. It was Aleppo before that, and it just has moved so incredibly fast. But you're right, there have been posters torn down, there have been statues that have been torn down here, and it's quite an extraordinary moment here. Are there any other, just quickly, any other historical comparisons that can be made here? I mean, the one thing I thought last night, just in terms of the speed here, was it was a bit reminiscent of Kabul in 2021, because this is extraordinary how fast this has happened.
Or a Wagner 2.0 even, except a lot more successful.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the key difference there. Stuart Jeffrey will be coming back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And stay with us here on Six News right throughout the day. We are live on the hour, every hour, with the latest developments out of Syria. We, of course, will have full coverage for you again throughout the rest of the day, in the coming days and weeks, with the latest analysis, reports, and breaking news developments. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Stay with us now. More news coming up.